and for the youth. It's a pleasure to welcome His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu. Hari Bol. I have been knowing Prabhu since 1996, way back in Mumbai, and he's the one who inspired me in Krishna consciousness when I was quite young that time. So every time I see him, his presence as a powerful Krishna conscious, bringing Krishna consciousness to our hearts. And he is the very, since years, without any stop, he's spreading Krishna consciousness all over India, now all over the world. And thousands, like I used to say, it's Radheshyam Prabhu's factory where devotees are produced, because he's an engineer from IIT. So he established a kind of factory where people would just come and process and come out like Tilak, Kantimala, and all those things. And very nice, sincere devotees, very powerful youth all over India who are following Radheshyam Prabhu's teachings and inspiration. So today we are very fortunate, and he is president for Pune Temple NVCC for a long time, and he also has a lot of youth centers where preaching is happening very systematically, very methodically. And there is a lot I can go on actually, but I think we have running out of time. And Prabhu, thank you for coming, and let us welcome again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bo. Om Ajnanate Mirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuvunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome all of you. The morning session I spoke about a regulated lifestyle. We talked about regulated eating, regulated sleeping, regulated recreation. Is one of them Swami Maharaj ki? Regulated eating, regulated sleeping, and regulated, I need this, recreation. So we spent some time on that. Then I also emphasized on balancing both your studies and Krishna consciousness. We spoke about that in the morning also. Now you can see this balanced human lifestyle. You know, the purpose of struggle in this world. Everybody knows, today we heard from His Holiness Devamrit Swami Maharaj what kind of struggle all over the world is going on. But the purpose of this struggle is not to remain in the world. Our endeavor should be purposeful, which is to purify the heart and go back to God. See, the balancing is a very great art. In the morning also I was telling you. Like you see in aeroplane, especially try to picturize a fighter aircraft. In fighter aircraft, you have to attain the destination where you want to go. At the same time, you have to beware of the enemy also. Similarly, what is the enemy in this world for us, sadhakas? Anybody can say? Maya. Maya is the enemy. So on one hand, we have to tackle Maya's allurements and temptations and problems on one hand. On the other hand, we have to keep the destination, Bhuloka to Goloka, going back home, back to Godhead. Both we have to keep in mind. Just like you are driving a car, you have to take care that the car doesn't go off track, it doesn't hit a tree or something, you don't lose the control of the steering. At the same time, you also have to have a goal, destination where you want to reach by driving the car. Keep control of the car. At the same time, attain the destination. Same manner, when you're walking with your two legs, if one leg slips, then you fall down. Similarly, we need balance of the two legs. So, we were talking about balance of study, school study and japa. So, to constantly monitor. See here, there are 4 aspects of our life. So, the physical, if you are very good in keeping health, good fitness, then one is called as a good animal. If one is very good in exchanging affection with relatives, friends circle, social circle, then one is called as a good friend. If one is very good in one's own profession or your academics, then you are called as a good craftsman. If you are good in spiritual aspect, connecting with God, then you are called as a good saint. So all these 4 aspects put together can be called as a complete human being. Otherwise we are incomplete human being without these 4. So morning also I told you about it. You do yogasanas, you do pranayama, all those things for the physical. And for the emotional, Rupa Goswami says, Priti Lakshanam, 6 exchanges. Anybody knows? Dadati, Pratigrihnati, Guhyam Akhyati, Prachati, Bhungte, Bojayate, Chaiva, Shadvedam, Priti Lakshanam. He says 6 things if you do, your friendships with devotees will become stronger. If you eat prasad, give them gifts, receive gifts. Reveal your mind in confidence and take help. And then you also share your realizations with them. So that is for emotional. And your intellectual nourishment happens, Prabhupada says, if you drink cow's milk, it goes straight to the brain and nourishes the brain tissues. Then you become very intelligent. Of course, many people have turned to vegan here in the West because of seeing the cruelty to the animals. Thousands and millions of cows are bred everywhere. And then the cattle raising, they call it, they send it to a slaughterhouse. So people don't drink milk here, many of the people. But if the milk is obtained from a proper source where the cow is protected, then it can nourish the brain tissues and make our spiritual intelligence strong to study the scriptures. Then we have spiritual, which is the most important, because I told you in the morning about the swan and the duck. You remember? Who was remembering it? You remembered it? Yeah. She remembered it. Yeah. So, because spiritual is very vital. See, in a car and driver combination, who is most important? Car or the driver? Driver, yeah. Driver has life, car has no life, isn't it? So, therefore, you put petrol for the car, but you have to give some food for the driver also. So, therefore, spiritual is most important. For example, will anybody take a lunch break only with dal like this? You will take a full plate like this. Isn't it? So, then prasadam is complete. Similarly, in the same manner, there are 4 aspects you will see here. Sadhana means chanting the holy name, coming in contact with spiritual vibration. 2 things, holy name, holy fame. Anybody knows what is holy fame? Anybody knows? Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, that is holy fame. Chanting the holy name and hearing the holy fame. That is actually sadhana of hearing. Then Swadhyaya is actually study of the scriptures. Actually, we should study by thinking. Here I found many of the children answering in the morning very nicely, many questions. So, we should study thoughtfully, contemplate on what we have heard, see how it applies to my life, how it applies to others' lives, and how is it relevant in the contemporary times. So, like that one should think, thoughtfully study. And not only that, third one is called seva, service. If you don't do service, then we cannot get realization. Like, realizations come only when you enter some seva, practical service. Just like you go to the laboratory in the afternoon. Morning you read theory, afternoon you do lab work. Then you understand the theorem nicely. Otherwise theory remains bookish knowledge. And the 4th one, someone is the relationship with seniors equals and juniors. Today we heard from His Holiness Devamrit Swami Maharaj. So hearing from very advanced devotees like that really goes straight to our hearts. It can shake up our foundation of, sense gratification and material attachments and things like that. So regular hearing is very important. And we need equals to share our joys and sorrows. And we need juniors to express our compassion. So these four are aspects of spiritual quotient. I told you four quotient: physical quotient, emotional quotient, intelligence quotient, and spiritual quotient. These are all only about spiritual, these four items. So when we talk about balancing, these four put together on one side and your school education on the other side. That's what we want to balance. So you all come here on Sunday, I am sure, but at home also you practice spiritual life. Let us take a typical student. If you see you have morning time, you have evening time with you. So I would suggest every one of you here, when you go back, you do this exercise. A typical day, how does it go for you? What time you rise in the morning? And then you brush your teeth, you take your bath, you write down everything, what all you are doing. And then find out where are the times available for you to decide how to spend. See, you can't, give up brushing or taking bath, dressing yourself, coming for the arati in the home, and then coming in the weekend to the temple. See, there are certain time slots which are already blocked. You can't do anything about them. You can't change them. But after doing all that, you have some time now. Where are you spending the time? So you can write slot 1, slot 2, slot 3 in the morning, and evening also slot 1, slot 3. How do you spend? So morning, one word I told you in Sanskrit, avyartha kalatvam. One should never waste one moment also. So even when Prabhupada was taking oil massage, he would tell a devotee, ask a devotee, tell me, what are you preaching? How are you preaching? You would hear from him. Or you would tell someone to read from a book, from Krishna book or something like that. Prabhupada was always, one moment he wouldn't waste at all. So, therefore these four can be fitted along with your school studies. Like why it is shown here in army, they actually train people like this in the beginning. Even you must have learned how to put tilak, how to chant japa. Japa cannot be done carelessly. Therefore, we have shown this picture. It has to be done in a very attentive manner. Taking sadhana seriously. And we have to hear attentively. Therefore, a big ear is shown. Isn't it? Because most important thing while chanting is what? See, if a deer wouldn't hear the sound of the tiger, what is likely to happen? If a deer went to drink water, when behind the bush a tiger is hiding, and even if there's a slight sound of the movement of the tiger, the deer will run away. And the deer is little inattentive, then the deer can get caught by the tiger. Of course, we are not going to be caught by anybody, therefore we may be careless in chanting. But if we are careless, mind goes away. You all have experience of that? Correct? Mind wanders or not? Yeah, mind wanders. Do you have a question? Yeah. Ask the question, yeah, please. Give him the mic. So, two pictures are shown here. One is hear attentively while chanting. You all can repeat 3 phrases after me. Chant audibly, pronounce clearly, hear attentively. 3 things we should do. Chant audibly, yeah. Is it on? Chant audibly. Audibly means chant little loudly. And pronounce clearly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Don't chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Rama, Rama. Don't chant like that. Hare, one should pronounce clearly. And hear attentively, like the big ears are shown. And the next picture shows that one should chant in a mood of supplication or surrender or submissiveness or obedience to the Lord. Oh Lord Krishna, you are my master, I am your servant. Some or other I have forgotten you, I have turned away from you, I have fallen in this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up. Prabhupada says, chanting Hare Krishna means, please accept me. Repeat. That's all he says. That is chanting Hare Krishna. And please, that's what he says, Narottama Dasekoi, Natali Rangapoi, Toma Vina Keyache Amara. He says that I have no other shelter to go, my dear Lord. Please accept me. So Prabhupada says, so that should be the mood of surrender. He is taking off the cap. He doesn't wear the cap and say, I am a great person. He takes off the cap and salutes the Lord. It's a mood of surrender and submissiveness. So that kind of surrendering mode along with attentive hearing. If these two things are done, chanting will be powerful. Yes? Yes, Sriyang, what was your question?
So when you said about that hearing thing, another thing is that if you can chant carelessly now, and you might think you'll not be caught by anyone, and it's okay, but actually you will. It's if you chant carelessly, you'll have to take birth again, and this birth is then again it will be wasted. So someone will get you, and that's Krishna. Actually, Krishna gets you every time. Even if nobody gets you, Krishna gets you, and he gives you the punishment.
Of course, Krishna certainly is compassionate to anyone who chants the holy name. At least he'll give a pinch. So just like Bharat Maharaja had to take the body of a deer because of inattentiveness. From there we learn we shouldn't be inattentive. He was offering ghee in the sacrifice, but he was looking at the deer. So he became inattentive and then he became a deer. So Sri Yang's point is valid. At the same time, we should know Lord gave him deer's body out of compassion. Because in the deer's body, do you know what he ate daily? Did he eat gulab jamun? What did deer eat every day? Dry grass. Why? Because he thought if I eat green grass, I'll become plumpy. So he ate dry grass he ate. And also he left his native place and went to Pulahashrama to hear and associate with saintly people. And he was always weeping that I have wasted my one life. Now let me be very careful. And he was always meditating on the Supreme Lord. When will the time come when I will meet the Lord? So because of all that, next life he became Jadabharata and went back to Godhead. So Jadabharata was very cautious, but Bharat was very careless. See, generally people don't understand the importance of foundation, but without foundation, can you build a skyscraper building? Similarly, what is foundation in our spiritual life? Who can say? Anybody? Any of you? Yes? Give the mic.
Chanting the holy name of the Lord.
That's the most important foundation. And also the whole morning program, beginning from 4:30 to 9:30, either in the temple or at home. At least we should do Mangala Arati and Narsingha and offer water to Tulasi and chant the holy name and hear at least half an hour, 1 hour Bhagavatam. That is actually like this, building the foundation. And then you can advance in spiritual life after that. See what Prabhupada says? Somebody can read this? Take the mic. She will read it. Please give her. What Prabhupada says, let us see.
You must make sure that all of these devotees are following the regulated principles very nicely. Everyone must rise early, take bath, attend Mangalarti, chant at least 16 good rounds, attend class, and follow the 4 regulated principles strictly. If these things are lax, then there is no question of spiritual life. Anyone who does not accept these things staunchly will have to fall down. You must teach them by your own personal example, otherwise how will they learn? If you are loose in your habits, then everybody in your temple will also be loose in their habits. So as one of my elder disciples, be strong. Do not deviate and you will be blessed.
So 2 things Prabhupada is saying. One is a list of the important morning programs he is giving and saying that they are all very important, follow it strictly. And another thing he is saying that breaking these principles by being loose in the long run will make one fall down and get deviated. He's giving a warning, Prabhupada. So, do you want to be like a shooting star or like a pole star? Which one you want to be? Pole star, yeah. You all know pole star, it doesn't blink at all. You know that? In the morning, early morning sky, you will see the pole star. Dhruvatara, where Dhruva Maharaj was given that planet. So, we want to be like that pole star fixed without blinking, or we want to be like a shooting star which falls down. So, shooting star is burnt off. You can see that. Just like a flower pot, we say, like that in one shot, it's finished. You want to be like that, or you want to be like a 10,000 wala, pat, 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 it goes on. You know 10,000? It just keeps going for half an hour. Tap, 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 tap. So you want to go on in spiritual life, or you want to just be like a flower pot? Flower pot. You want to go on forever. So therefore I have shown Dhruvatara, I have shown. So triple S formula, you can remember this. Swasthya means health, sadhana, chanting and hearing, and seva. These three are very important. They are called triple S formula. So, okay, we'll go to the... So we have to follow in the footsteps of great souls like Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioned here. So here one more letter, please read it. Yeah. Who hasn't, you would like to read it? Yeah, please give it to her. Behind, yeah. Yourself, yeah. Okay. She's a little child, she will read it?
Simply, if the standard of our routine work is maintained very highly, that is, if we steadfastly perform our daily program of rising early, cleansing, chanting 16 rounds, holding kirtan wherever we are, at least twice daily, reading, worshipping the deities, going on Sankirtan like that, is this routine work is always done nicely and never neglected. Then all our success is guaranteed in whatever we do. But if this our regular Krishna conscious program is allowed to slacken, then everything else we try will fail. That is the simple formula for success.
You see, this is the second time we are reading from another letter of Prabhupada. So he is stressing on these items of sadhana, how important they are. So let us talk a little bit about the danger of inattentive japa and distraction. This is what I told you. See Bharat Maharaj, he is offering ghee in the sacrificial fire, but he is looking at the deer. Prabhupada says, if one's mind is distracted from worship, a mere show of worship will not be of any benefit, he says. So we have to attentively chant. Therefore we should sit in the puja room, lit up a lamp, bow down to the Lord. There are two powerful distractors, eyes and the ears. If you can make sure that these two are not distracted. Like Madhumangal sometimes would see laddu in the neighborhood covered boy's plate. When he wants the laddu, you know what he will do? He will tell the boy, hey, look at the monkey upside down in the tree, outside the window. So the boy would look through the window and the monkey would be upside down hanging and he would be laughing. In the meantime, laddu is gone. That's how Madhumangal will distract. So that's why he is saying that if a mind is distracted from worship, a mere show of worship will not be of any benefit. So sometimes we also chant Hare Krishna, we chant, but we are either plan making. Today what I will do, tomorrow what I will do, next week what I will do. Or we are worrying about the poor results which came last week. We are thinking of the past or worrying about the future. Or sometimes, our mind becomes switched off and we go to sleep also. We become drowsy. I have only 10 minutes, after which 7 o'clock His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu is going to take class, I think, for all of you. He will be meeting all of you. 6:55, I am concluding, okay? So I am going a little fast, I am going. You see, there are three things mentioned here by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Audasina means, it comes from the word udasin. That means, if any of us feel that my heart is not engaged, and I feel no taste in chanting, if you feel like that, that means you are wide awake, you are not drowsy, and your mind is also not wandering, but there is no taste. You are trying to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Then in between you feel that, okay, after 2 rounds I will keep it away and lie down for some time, and then I will again begin. We think like that. This is called as Audasinya. The second one is, Jadya means laziness. We interrupt the japa for attending some phone call or attending some WhatsApp message. In all these cases, he says, associate with Vaishnavas who constantly chant, avoid prajalpa. We should sit next to a Vaishnava who sits erect and finishes all 16 rounds in one go. There are people, serious chanters, you chant with them. And also, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you know what he would do? This size, like this small size, he had made one box type of thing in cement, thick cement. He would go inside and cover it, and he will also tie his eyes, and inside he will chant, so that he can avoid all distractions. He had made a facility like that. And Sanatana Goswami Pada in Vrindavan would go inside a gufa like this, straight, and then it would go like an L-shaped gufa. We'd go inside and sit and chant, which means they didn't want to see anything or hear anything other than the holy name. So we also should create a sacred space for ourselves to chant nicely. See here, this fellow, they're sleeping. They're sleeping with the newspaper. I think daytime sleep, I think it is. In between, if you take a nap, then rounds will not get over. And we can't pay attention. Third one is distraction. Becoming distracted by many things, different things. So, to avoid continuous distraction, we have to fast on Ekadashi day, chant constantly, chant more rounds on Ekadashi day, 24 rounds to 30 rounds and all that. So, many of your children here, at least you individually, whatever you are inspired by, you can chant. And at appropriate age, I heard from Shamru Prabhu and Sukesh Mataji also that some of the young youth devotees got initiated, I heard. They got about 5 or 6 of you, which is a very nice thing. That means even before you became 18 or 20, some of them have got initiated, which means they have seriously practiced. So I was talking to Radheshyam in the morning after the class. He was telling me that he doesn't fix any rounds for all of you, but whatever you're able to chant, you can chant regularly. And then he also said some of you came to 16 rounds. He was very happy to know that, but he said, from my side, I don't put any pressure because they have academics and everything. Based on their inspiration, they can chant. But we are discussing the topic on balancing between your study and sadhana. So they both have to go on. That's the most important thing. Okay. Please repeat this. Associate with cheerful. Not be envious. Avoid envious. And pray for them. Be humble, tolerant, and respectful to all. Be compassionate to the innocent and non-blasphemous. So these 4 are very important principles for a healthy mindset. If your mind has to be like an innocent child, these 4 are to be followed. This is given in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So Patanjali says that if somebody is always cheerful, associate with them and like, Ami bada dukhi, tumi bada sukhi. If somebody is Nityanpu sukhi, go and associate and beg for his mercy. If you see some happy devotee, don't become envious. Don't ask, why are you so happy? Don't ask like that. Make friendship with them. Similarly, if somebody is envious of you, and like Jagai Madai, for example, of course we can't deal with them, but Nityanpu dealt with them. So what we should do, if somebody devotee is blasphemous or envious, you keep a long distance from them. Because if you try to talk to atheistic people, you will end up fighting with them, quarreling with them, and you'll become very angry and you'll become hard-hearted. And a hard heart, is it conducive for chanting? Therefore, we keep away from atheists and non-devotees. But if you can defeat them and make them devotees like what Nityananda did, that you can do, which is not very easy. Therefore, keep distance. And the third one is Trinadapi Shunichana Shloka. Be humble, be tolerant, be respectful, and be free from false prestige. Then you can chant constantly. And the fourth one is be compassionate to the innocent people. There are many innocent people. They are willing to accept the chanting immediately. So this is a perfect attitude for a devotee. Another thing Prabhupada says, a devotee should be busy in Krishna service, that I told you already. The secret of attentive japa, Prabhupada himself gives in one purport. I will show you that. See, one disciple is asking, one of you read that? Yeah. Whoever has a mic with you. You have the mic? Please give it to her. Yeah. Please give it to her. Yeah. One of you reads disciple, another one will read Prabhupada, okay?
Srila Prabhupada, it is very difficult to control the wandering mind during japa.
Another devotee can read? Behind you, yeah.
What is the use of controlling the mind? You have to chant and hear, that's all. You have to chant with your tongue, and the sound you hear, that's all. What is the question of the mind?
Prabhupada saying, just chant and hear, that's all he says. But in between we have the impure mind, which creates trouble. So what is to be done, Prabhupada is saying here. Read that. Yeah. Please, give the mic to her. Yeah.
No one can give rapt attention who is not pure in mind. No one can be pure in mind who is not pure in action. No one can be pure in action who is not pure in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating.
Yeah, a great secret Prabhupada is revealing in this purport 1344. How to get a pure mind? Because if I have a pure mind, I can chant very easily, without much difficulty. So how to get that pure mind? He says it's very easy. You have to be pure in your action, he says. And action means 4 things: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Which means we should only eat to get energy to serve Krishna. And we should not eat for sense gratification. We should not overeat. We should not eat very opulent foods. But eat to get energy. And what is the definition of energy in science? Anybody knows? Energy means capacity to do work. That means after eating prasad, should we lie down or should we do seva? If somebody is lying down, that means they are eating for sense gratification. If somebody, after eating prasad, you do seva, that means that's what is eating, ideal eating. And sleeping also, we should not sleep extra. 6 hours you sleep to have a morning, you get up fresh so that all day you can serve Krishna. So you can sleep for Krishna also. Sleeping for Krishna means, I want to rest the bodily machine so that it will be fit to serve Krishna tomorrow. Like that we should sleep. Similarly, mating means man and woman get married and they beget children through Garbhadhan Sanskara and they raise a child in Krishna consciousness. That is pure mating. And then pure defending means we don't unnecessarily find fault with others. We don't pick up quarrel with anybody. We don't gossip. We don't badmouth. We don't do all those things. But in case somebody troubles our Krishna consciousness, then we defend ourselves, that's all. Unnecessarily we don't offend anybody. So then you will be pure in eating, sleeping, mating, defending. That means then you are pure in action. Pure in action, again I'll tell you one more thing. The senses should be engaged in Krishna service. What do you call that? Rishikena, Rishikesha, Sevanam, Bhaktiruchate. And mind is purified by chanting Hare Krishna. Intelligence is purified by Shastric study, like Gita, Bhagavatam and all. And ego is purified by taking feedback from the devotees, living in the midst of devotees, not quarreling with devotees, serving Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas. Then ego is purified. So in this way you purify senses, mind, intelligence, ego, then you become pure in action. When you are pure in action, then mind becomes pure. There is another thing that makes the mind very pure. Actually, morning to night, we have to check how much we interact with material energy, how much we interact with spiritual energy. In some homes I have seen, as soon as everybody gets up in the morning, they take a bath and chant and do have Mangalarati and everything. Evening they do Gaurarati, they go for book distribution, and they are going to the temple. Their lives are very, very spiritualized. Like iron rod put in fire, they become like effulgent and very powerful and spiritual life. On the other hand, some people do rock bottom minimum spiritual life. And then they only go once in a week or once in 2 weeks to temple, occasionally. But their lives are quite materialistic. Then what happens? By material vibrations, we will become covered over. We will not be able to, then we become, our mind also, you are a product of what you regularly interact with. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangasthejupit. So whatever you contemplate on, we are like a sponge. Mind is like a sponge. You absorb it in a certain type of water, it absorbs it. So that's what keeps the mind pure if you keep yourself absorbed in spiritual activities. So I am going to conclude with this. This is the ending, I think. Enthusiasm. So regulation and discipline in Krishna consciousness also purifies the heart. And with a pure heart, then you can focus on the holy name, you can control the senses and all that. Okay. See, Dhruva got purified completely by chanting what he chanted. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He chanted that. So, see, by regulation and discipline, you get focus, sense control, concentration, spiritual bliss, everything you get. And you all know the 6 surges, the first verse of Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita. I have shown it pictorially, I have shown. Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jihva Vegam, Udara Vegam, Upastha Vegam. Yeah, thank you. So this I didn't get time to do. I will do it another time when I come. I have another youth program today. But most of it you have finished. The 6th one is the only part remaining. And I will leave the PPT with Shamal Prabhu. You all can see it. And I will also give that 4-minute video also on why we should sleep early and rise early. Okay? Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada. So, I heard that His Grace Vaisheshik Prabhu gives all of you personal time, Saturday and Sunday. He was telling me what all program he does for all of you. I was so happy to hear that. So one thing he told me, that by his giving personal time, some of the children who grew up, they have gone to university now. Some of them have come to the point of even marriage. But after growing up, they all did a lot, he was telling. They all became fixed up devotees and serious devotees. I was very happy to know that. So we also wish and hope and pray that every one of you sitting here, you grow as a devotee, and wherever you go, you continue these practices. And you should bring great fame to His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu and your parents and to this ISV community. Thank you.